Today, we'll be making a custom electronic kick, snare, and hi-hat. Of course, we could just use a sample, and there's nothing wrong with that. But with custom synthesized drums, you can tailor the sound to the key of your song, stylistically, or for the genre, or tweak the length to create space for other sounds at higher RPMs. This is Synnovator, synthesizing noise, visuals, and knowledge for creatives and innovators. Reset Vital to its initialized state, turn off key tracking, and lower the pitch by 2 octaves to -24. Turn off phase randomization, so the generated sound has more predictable phase characteristics and less pops and crackles. Now set it to a sine wave. And we'll essentially bypass envelope 1 by setting the decay and release about halfway, sustain turn down, attack turn down to 0. Now we need to create our own envelope using LFO1, leaving a tiny bit of a gap at the start with a shape a little bit like this. And don't forget to set the mode to envelope and set a frequency around 0.6 seconds. Turn down oscillator 1 and map LFO1 to control the level. I forgot, but remember to turn off smoothing. For the LFO2 pitch control, I find this kind of stepped shape works the best. Map LFO2 to the pitch control, and audition the sound while tweaking the time. It's about the hunt for that organic punchy transient. It's a good idea to listen to and look at the waveform of kicks you'd like to emulate. Either way, around 0.3 seconds is a good place to start, assuming your envelope uses about half of this space like mine does. We want to mix in a little bit of white noise to add to the punch of the transient, to fill in the little space we left at the beginning of the envelope in LFO1. Follow along to set up LFO3. For consistency, we're going to set this to 0.6 seconds as well, and map it to the level of the sample, ensuring its level is turned down to 0. Then we're just tweaking it to get the snappy transient that we want. Adding a little bit of curve gives it a sharper click. When you're starting to hear a kick sound you like, we can move on to effects. Add some soft clip distortion. Set the compressor to single band mode configured like so, then adjust the volume so you're not clipping. From here it's a good idea to save your work by creating a preset, and continue to tweak the volume, pitch, and sample envelope and the final pitch in the context of your music. Here are some variations I made just through some minor tweaks. As always, start by initializing Vital to its default preset and turning off note tracking. Transpose oscillator 1 up 7 steps, reduce the level to nothing, choose basic shapes for a sine wave, and turn off phase randomization. We're not going to use envelope 1, so just set it to a long decay and release with no attack. And craft the following envelope in LFO1, mapped to the level. Set it to envelope and make the frequency quite fast, around 0.4 seconds. Give LFO2 the following shape. This will be our pitch envelope. So map LFO2 to the transpose control of oscillator 1, set to about 1/3. Tweak the tempo. I landed on around 0.16 seconds, and remember to set the mode to envelope. Set up oscillator 3 like so. The magic happens with the second burst of what will be white noise. Turn on the white noise sample, turn the level down, and map LFO3 to the level. Set the mode to envelope and set the frequency to around 0.4 seconds. Tweaking the second part of the curve in LFO1 will really change the snappiness of the snare. So once you're happy, add a compressor, set it to single band mode, and configure it like I show here on screen, just as a starting point. Keep an eye on the level for clipping. Now add in some fairly aggressive soft clip distortion. As you can see, I go all the way up to 12.94 dBs here. From here you can experiment with changes to the envelope, changing the attack and the decay, reducing the length of the post-transient rattle, and this is where you can tune the pitch to the pitch of your song. We can finish off by adding some reverb with the built-in reverb effect in Vital, targeting some of the higher frequencies we'd expect to resonate in a snare or in the room. Initialize vital and turn off note tracking. Transpose the pitch to about 48. Add a formant filter set to about 75%. And make sure you have a sine wave selected. No, you don't have tinnitus, that's just what it sounds like. Lengthen envelope 1 like so and turn down the attack. Drop the level of oscillator 1, which we're then going to control with LFO 1 set to envelope mode. Set to 0.5 seconds and shaped like so. I've just used a simple ramp here, but you can use an ADSR style envelope as well. Apply this to the oscillator 1 level. This gives us our main metallic resonance. Now we'll enable the white noise sample and control the level with LFO 1, remembering to lower the level to 0, with 100% LFO 1 influence. Now we're going to focus on the higher frequency fundamentals we want to come through using filter 2 set to sample. I changed it to the more aggressive 24 dB analog filter. Feel free to copy what I've done here as a starting point. For effects, start with a compressor set to single band mode, just like normal. Shut off the upwards compressor and set it up like so. As always, keep an eye out for clipping. Next, add a reverb, and use LFO 1 to lower the low cut. The extra delays from the reverb help to smear the sound a bit, but it's a pretty subtle effect. From here, make tweaks to tailor the sound to your song. As an example, I find that my beat sounds better with LFO 1 reduced on the level of oscillator 1. Listen to how much better it sounds with that metallic tone just cut a little bit. If you are just following along, I suggest setting this to around 0.64. Initialize vital and turn off note tracking. You can turn off oscillator 1 because we're only going to use the white noise sample. Increase the release and shut down the attack like so. Begin setting up LFO 1 as our envelope. Remember to change the mode to envelope and set the frequency to around 0.25 seconds before creating this shape. Map LFO 1 to control the turn down level of the noise sample. Now that we're getting this sound, let's target some of the higher frequencies using filter 1 with SMP for samples selected. Feel free to copy this shape before moving on to filter 2. I was focusing on frequencies around 54 semitones. Look, I remembered to turn off smoothing. Okay, for percussion this is best. Set up a single band compressor like so, leaving a little upwards compression in the mix. Add some soft clip distortion like so. Add in the chorus effect at the end of the chain. Set this to 4 voices and a half note for the tempo. Then set the depth, delay, 1 and 2, cutoff, spread and feedback like so, along with the mix. Now add in a reverb and use LFO 1 to control the high cut in a negative direction. Match my settings here for a subtle effect. And finally finish with an equalizer at the end of the chain. We'll use this to accentuate some of the mid and high frequency tones we want to come through in the mix. Adjust your levels for everything so that you're not clipping, and make any remaining tweaks you need to fit your song. And that's it. I hope that was helpful. Either way, smash that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Cinnovator signing off.